Races this week weird for you?
I mean, I guess a little bit probably will be more so on Saturday, I guess, just with it being the last time playing in Beaver Stadium, with it being the last game, senior day and all that. But right now, I think I've been able to do a pretty good job just having the same routine over the last 3 years, so that I can try and make sure that I don't get those kind of weird emotions and anything like that and get out of whack leading up to the game.
So, Tris, you started to talk about it a little bit, but have you envisioned much like going into the tunnel and all that? Are you trying to put that out of your mind completely? How does that work? This week, trying to prepare yourself for something that could be emotional.
Yeah, I haven't really envisioned it or thought too much about it. I think just kind of the best way that I think you can handle it is just when those emotions kind of happen, just let yourself experience that, for a couple seconds here and there, 10, 15 seconds, whatever it might be, and then be able to refocus. And I think, my approach right now is just to be as focused as I possibly can on the game, so that when it comes time to have to refocus and get back in there, I can do that.
Trace, I was asking Coach Franklin about when he was making those phone calls, leaves Vanderbilt, there's that dead period where they can't talk to you guys, everything's getting situated. Do you remember anything about that phone call when he finally reached out to you? Because obviously I'm sure you were probably anxious, maybe upset leading up to that.
Yeah, I remember I was in the car, I was leaving a friend's house, and he called me, and it was a PA area code, and so I answered it, and it was Coach Franklin. And I remember being probably a little short on the phone because I was upset, and kind of how everything had gone down, and obviously not knowing exactly what was going on with the dead period and all that stuff, and just not hearing anything for a while. So I remember I was probably a little short on the phone, but he was just saying, hey, sorry how all these weeks kind of how it's all panned out, but we want you to come up here, take a visit, and we want you to come play here, all that kind of stuff. So after that phone call, I kind of hung up, I was on my way home, talked to my parents, and then we made the trip up that weekend. We were like, we have a free weekend, let's just do it. So, but yeah, I remember I was probably a little short at the time on the phone, but everything kind of worked out. And Coach Franklin, I think, kind of knew that because when I came up that weekend, I ended up, telling him that I was going to end up coming here. I remember he said to me, so we're cool now. I think we don't have any animosity between us anymore. So I think he kind of could get that sense a little bit too. But yeah, just everything worked out well.
Did you ever think of not coming to Penn State? Was there a point in time when you're like, I'm just going to stay at Vandy? Or was it?
I really didn't, at that time, I didn't really know where I was going to go. It wasn't that I wasn't going to go to Vandy, that I wasn't going to go to Penn State. I was just kind of looking for an option. And I think at that point, that's what I really needed. It was towards the end of the recruiting cycle and all that. So, a lot of classes or schools that I had been looking at, their classes had filled up, and they weren't able to take any other guys or what have you. So I think at that point I was kind of looking for an opportunity. So.
And since there's 3 of us here, I can ask questions like this. What's the question you've gotten asked the most over the last 3 years? What's the one that makes you quietly roll your eyes the most violently?
That's a tough one. I don't really know. I think it's just kind of one of those things that it's just there's always the same sort of question that kind of get asked. Probably about leading up to games is when people are trying to ask about what do you think about things in the future, and those type of questions that you can kind of get a sense that they're trying to get you to say something that is just going to end up being misconstrued in a different way. So I think those are the type of things where I feel like I'll get asked questions like that, and I'll know what they're trying to get at, and I just kind of try to stay away from them as much as possible. Those are the ones that I think probably get me up the most, I guess.
So looking ahead to the bowl, is it hard not to think about the end?
It's hard at times to not think about the end, especially with it being so close at this point. And I think that's kind of one of the things that it's, we're kind of there at this point. This is the end of these seniors' times, end of my time here in Beaver Stadium. And I think that's something that it's tough to not think about. Understanding the magnitude of it all and everything that's gone into it. I mean, for me being here 5 years, I remember running out, the stadium the first time we were playing Akron when the year I was redshirting, and to think that it's gone that fast, and all those games that have built up to this game leading up, there's a lot that's gone into it. So it's going to be one of those times that it's going to be, you don't realize it's gone until it is. And I think that's kind of the point where I'm at is I've been here for so long, I feel like this is never going to end, and here we are this week. So.
Just following up on that, is it going to be tough? You see on the Instagram stories and stuff like that, like Marcus and some of those guys watching the games now. Is it hard to think that in a year that'll be you watching Penn State play?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to think like that. It's just one of those things that, like I said, you just don't necessarily think about it until you're there. And I think for one, it'll be hard to kind of be in that position, but two, I think it's kind of cool to now be able to be a fan of Penn State and be someone who's not going to just support. And obviously, there's so much stuff that goes into a game. And, it'll still be my teammates that are out there playing, being able to watch them and support them. I think in years to come, it's going to be something that it'll be cool to be able to do that. Obviously, we won't have the same sort of sentiments and feeling as playing with them and running out the tunnel with those guys. But, I think, you watch those games and you see like Marcus on his Instagram story. Of course, he's always got his personality, and that's flowing through it. But I think he misses it, but at the same time, it's cool for him to be able to see guys like Garrett and Nick, coming out and playing well and having success. So I think that'll be a cool thing.
Dave?
Trace, what are you most proud of what you've done during your time here, and is there anything you regret that you weren't able to accomplish?
I think I'm proud of just how far this team has come in my time here. From when we got here as freshmen, kind of going through the first couple of years, 6-6, 7-6, being bowl eligible. Right the room that I got here, we weren't even sanctions were still around. So to kind of think that we were able, in my time here, to go from that where we were still on postseason bans and all that type of stuff to where in my time we were able to win a Big Ten championship, go play in the Rose Bowl, play in the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, bowl games that people dream about going to their entire lives, and when we got here, there wasn't even a thought that we'd have a chance at any bowl game, at least in the next 3 years since when I first got here. So I think that's probably what I'm most proud of, just how far this team has come over those 5 years, just from where we started to where we're going to be, finishing up this year at, and all things we'll be able to accomplish over my time.
Trace, a question about a different senior, one of your guys, Koa. What has he meant to you over the years, and what do you think he's meant to this program?
I think Koa's been one of those guys that he's sacrificed anything and everything for this team. He came in as a safety. He played safety his first year, moved to linebacker. I think then he was getting the feel for linebacker. I think we had some injuries or something went down. He moved back to safety. And he's back playing safety the entire time. This whole time he's contributing as much as he can on special teams. And then he gets moved back down to linebacker. He's playing Sam, he's playing Will. Anything that these coaches have asked him to do, he's done. And he's done it at a pretty high level. So I think just kind of what he means as far as for this team and for our program, it's hard to really put it into words, everything that he's given up and sacrificed for our team. And then personally, he was my roommate my first 2-3 years. We're roommates again this year. He's a brother to me, brother to all the guys on the team, probably my best friend since we got here. I remember being on our recruiting trip and on the official visit, and he hadn't committed yet, and he kind of looked at me and was like, we're going to be best friends. And I think that's something that's really cool to have that type of bond here at Penn State. So for, personally, like I said, Koa's a brother to me, and, it's going to be weird to not be around him all the time, but it's going to be cool to be able to stay in touch with him, and obviously we'll keep our relationship going as the rest of our lives.
It seemed like a long time ago he was returning kicks.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he returned kicks at one point. I forgot about that. Yeah, so like I said, he's just contributed as much as he can everywhere. Even from returning kickoffs to putting on 30, 40 pounds and then moving down the linebacker and kind of losing that kickoff return spot. But then he had a big one against Ohio State last year, so we still got that in him. So I think he's just something, he makes plays for us. Hasn't maybe not been like the big flashy type playmaker guy, but he's always consistently making plays and doing his job. And I think for everything that he's done for this program, he's been overlooked. I think for everything that he's done and what he really means to our program.
Coach said you guys worked out in California before you even got to school. Do you remember anything about that workout? He said he was He was running patterns for you?
Yeah, it was right before we got here. He was out there. I mean, he'd been a receiver all through high school. He said he never played defense, so he was just running routes and stuff like that. At that point, I was able to get some of the routes and knew what kind of stuff we were doing, that kind of stuff. We did like ladder drills, all that kind of stuff. I remember doing speed work. We like finished, we were like, all right, we gotta do like some conditioning. So we were running like 100-yard sprints at the end. I was like dying. He was just getting out of track, so he's like coasting through it all. I'm like dead. So, but I remember like that was just one of the things that we just kind of, that's where our like friendship kind of bond started off. And then like funny story, we were kind of like, he's driving me to my aunt's place in California to drop me off. We're like on the freeway. He realizes that he's like running out of gas, so we gotta like pull off. And we're in like the middle of, I don't even know where we are. We were in LA, but neither of us had any idea where we were in LA trying to find gas. Find one gas station, and that gas station was closed. So we had to find another one, all that stuff. So fighting through traffic and all that. So that was just one of those first kind of experiences that we had. So everything that kind of went into it, I think it kind of probably was a little bit of foreshadowing how our journey at Penn State would be.
Hey Trace, this is not about senior day, kind of off the wall. What's Thanksgiving like for a college football player here? And how important is it to kind of balance, maybe try and get some kind of family time or family connection, when you guys still work too?
Yeah, it is tough, especially for a lot of guys that, your whole life you've grown up, you got big Thanksgiving dinners with your family, aunts, uncles, everyone's coming into town, and then you get here, and especially if you move from far away or anything like that, you can't go back and do those kind of things. You're kind of stuck on campus. You got practice Thursday morning, so I mean it's tough to be a college football player. You definitely sacrifice a lot of family time. Our coaches sacrifice time with their families every single week, but I think when you get to around times like Thanksgiving, it kind of hits home a little bit more. But I think that's one of the good things about having teammates and guys that you can go and spend time with, and maybe you're not getting like the family time with your immediate family, but you're still getting quality time with guys that you consider your brothers and things like that. So I think that kind of helps us. The program does a really good job of, they'll do like a Thanksgiving lunch on Thursday at the training table, where you still get the turkey, all those normal Thanksgiving foods, and be able to hang out and kind of have like a big Thanksgiving meal with everyone, and then try and give guys time in the afternoon off to, if they're within range, be able to go home and do see family if they can. So and a lot of times guys will travel with teammates, go to their houses and things like that. So it's one of the times that it's hard, but I think it's better that you're able to spend time with your teammates, and if your families are around, they'll be able to come up and things like that.
Trace, was there a time during that Iowa game, now that we're a few weeks away from it, where you thought, wow, this might be my college football career ending? And how much more valuable have these last few games been to you? Has there been an element of perspective, I guess, knowing how quickly you can lose something?
Yeah, I think it definitely kind of was a little bit. I mean, you hear all the time that, guys come back and talk to us about, how fast things go and how fast things can be taken away from you. And when something like that happens, it's almost like it's a scare a little bit. You don't necessarily know, especially in the time where you don't exactly know what happened and that kind of stuff. So I think for a little bit there was a little bit of scare that was this going to be the end? Unfortunately for me, that it wasn't, and it wasn't as bad as maybe I initially thought in my own head. So I was able to kind of keep pushing through it. It's been tough, obviously, the last couple of weeks with having to deal with injuries and things like that, things that I hadn't necessarily had to go through in my career. So it's put things in perspective that it just kind of like you said, this can be taken away at any time. And unfortunately for me, that it wasn't. And I'm able to finish this year out and be able to walk on senior day and play with my teammates one more time in Beaver Stadium.
Thanks.
Anything else for Trace? Any idea what you plan on doing long after football? What was your degree in, and do you plan to do something with that? Or?
I got my degree in accounting. Not really sure exactly if I'm going to use that or in what way. I mean, I want to stay around the game as long as possible. So whether they be playing as long as I can or coaching, whatever it might be, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. part of what we want to do with this year was do some broadcast journalism classes, try and see if there's another avenue that I can stay around it if I'm not playing it, and all that. So I honestly haven't given too much thought to it. I've just been focused on playing and that kind of stuff.
Sorry, I should have just been the worst. Thank you. How has your relationship evolved with Coach Ronnie, from the guy who came to recruit you and really gave you that chance as a quarterback to your offensive coordinator now?
Yeah, I think our relationship it's grown every single year, even when he wasn't my position coach anymore. I mean, obviously he gave me the opportunity. He was, one of the few who kind of believed in my ability to be a quarterback at the college level. So I mean, for that, I'll always be eternally grateful for the opportunity that he gave me. But since I got here, and the relationship we've been able to build with him, but not just him, with his family, with his kids. I mean, I was just at his son's class. We were doing like the first grade class and reading, and they had us doing like a dance and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it was fun just kind of be able to have that relationship with him and his family, and then just kind of continue to grow as far as the trust that we've been able to build in each other. That he trusts me in situations to be able to make a play when our team needs it, and I trust him. He's going to be able to make the calls, and if there's a time where he's got to tell me something and be completely honest with me and kind of bring me back down to earth, that he can do that. And same way, that works both ways. If there's something where I see something I want to try to exploit, I can bring that to him, and he trusts my opinion and trusts what I'm seeing. And in the times that I've done that, usually the next drive we've done that, and sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But that's why I'm not going to coach yet. So.
And last one from me. Just forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, I got it. We're good. You guys all have these somewhat quirky handshakes pregame. You and Bates have your thing, your touchdowns. We saw the one with Gonzalez go viral when he didn't get it right. Do you and Coe, I think, have one pregame? It's kind of pretty elaborate. How did that start?
I think it just kind of started like one night. He just was like, I think he said something about like me and Billy doing the whole home run thing. He was like, why don't we have anything? Like, you're supposed to be my brother, whatever. We don't have something, blah, blah, whatever. So I was like, all right, bro, like, let's make one then. Because like, he'll always, like, when we'll warm up and stuff, he'll like always stand there and catch. He'll still go out with the returners and catch and all that kind of stuff. So, and then when they go do their own thing, he'll just come down and catch for us as we're warming up. So he's kind of I don't really know how exactly it started. He will want to do something that's like a little West Coast. Everything he does has to have like that West Coast connotation with it and all that. So that's kind of how that all started. Then just kind of just grew from there. At one point, it just ended up like evolving step after step. So I mean, he kind of made it up, and I kind of went with it. So yeah.
Before the Rutgers game, when you and the quarterbacks were fielding snaps from the center, I think you fielded a snap from Nittany and you tossed the ball to a kid instead of tossing it to Nittany. That kid was smiling for like 10, 15 minutes after the fact. Have you found yourself doing stuff like that more this year?
Yeah, this year that's been something that I've kind of started to do, especially at that point. Just kind of something to try and have some fun, I guess. Try and make an impact. If there's like a little kid around there, just toss them, kind of like you said, just try and make his day a little bit, whatever it might be. So, I mean, I know if I was a little kid sitting there, that would have made my day. So if I can do that for someone else, that's just something I kind of want to do. It's not like it doesn't distract from anything. It's just kind of something that if I can make someone's day a little bit by doing something simple, as just tossing them a ball real quick and then getting back to it, I want to do that. So that's something that I've started to do just kind of this year, and it's been able to work out, and hopefully I've been able to make a couple people's days and make a couple people just a little bit happier.
Trace, the senior class as a whole, how do you want you guys to be remembered? So sorry to ask, too far ahead, but what legacy do you hope you guys leave behind?
Yeah, I hope our legacy as a senior class. It was a lot of guys that came in to Penn State that went at a time when it wasn't necessarily the brightest. We still had the tradition and everything like that, but things were still a little bit bleak at the time. And I think just want to be remembered as a bunch of guys that didn't necessarily come in with all the hype as far as the recruiting through all that, and we didn't have all the high expectations of everything that some people do now. But guys that were able to come, work hard, be able to bring Penn State success and kind of bring Penn State back into national spotlight and to compete for championship level games with Big Ten, playoff, national championship. Want to be putting ourselves into that conversation every single year and giving this program something that they can be proud of. A group of guys that came and worked hard and didn't really care what anyone else said about them or what everyone else expected them to do. Is we bonded together and just worked hard to be able to bring this program back to where we thought it should have been with the time we got here.
Thank you, Trace. We'll be joined by Nick Scott momentarily.